importa lo que de mí se diga, vive usted vida que yo vivo la mía, que solo una disfruta el momento, que el tiempo se acaba y para atrás no vira, viviendo, fumando y oyendo, siga vacilando de party todos los días. Síguelo, wow, wow, síguelo, wow, wow. Pepa y agua para la seca, todo el mundo es patía en la discoteca. Pepa y agua para la seca, todo el mundo es patía en la discoteca. No me importa lo que de mí se diga, vive usted vida que yo vivo la mía, que solo una disfruta el momento, que el tiempo se acaba y para atrás no vira, viviendo, fumando y oyendo, siga vacilando de party todos los días. Síguelo, wow, wow, síguelo, wow, wow. Pepa y agua para la seca, todo el mundo es patía en la discoteca. Pepa y agua para la seca, todo el mundo es patía en la discoteca. No me importa lo que de mí se diga, vive usted vida que yo vivo la mía, que solo una disfruta el momento, que el tiempo se acaba y para atrás no vira, viviendo, fumando y oyendo, siga vacilando de party todos los días. Síguelo, wow, wow, síguelo, wow, Pepa y agua para la seca, todo el mundo es patía en la discoteca. Pepa y agua para la seca, todo el mundo es patía en la discoteca.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in a cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let her tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
To celebrate her 1-year anniversary at Meadowlark Media, and because we brought in Charlotte Wilder at a time that was at the beginning as part of her rookie hazing, just to drink her Celtics tears a year ago. Charlotte has now been promoted to the big seat. We have a flight problem here in terms of people fleeing around here. Mike has left the country. I'm not even making that up. Mike Ryan has simply left the country.
Cowards.
That is, say it with your chest.
I agree.
Cowards.
You gotta get in there. They are cowards. Mike Ryan has run away, and it's strange because he was right about a lot of different things, including saying before the season that they were a play-in and that they weren't good enough, which they were not. We'll get to the Heat stuff in a second, though. But Amin El-Hassan is taking like an urgent emergency flight to get here from Boston. He was at the game last night, and it makes me recall many years ago sitting next to Greg Cody at a Michael Jordan Heat playoff game. The Miami Heat, that was their best team to date. I think that had 61 wins on the season. And I think I have this right. The details don't matter as much as the joke Greg Cody made, which is Michael Jordan is up 3-0 in the series, and Phil Jackson's son, is graduating from high school somewhere, and so Phil Jackson has to helicopter into the game because of Chicago traffic and everything. And again, Michael Jordan was up 3-0 in the series. And Greg Cody's joke was, never has a man hurried more to a place he was needed less than Phil Jackson rushing in to Chicago. And what I would just say to you is Amin is rushing that way to get here, and he's not really needed given that the dissection of the Heat season tends to be a pretty easy one today.
I think there's lots of common rationale that you can bring to the analysis today. I think there's acknowledgement of where the team stands and what it could have been.
Go sit in the penalty box for
What?
2 minutes.
That was a quick one.
Go sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes.
Good-
We'll get back to you.
good
and
job, Jeremy.
and we're undermanned today and underwomaned. So go sit in the penalty box and get your act together.
Oh, weird.
I'm fine.
What am I drinking, Dan? Is this?
It's Heat Tears. You're drinking Heat Tears today. Yes, Charlotte.
Interesting.
Eric Spoelstra says he's not watching any more Celtics games. I imagine a lot of Heat fans are going to check out of the playoffs now. The Boston Celtics, for those of you not paying attention, 4 of the 5 games that the Celtics played, they played those 4 games all season long.
Yes.
They crushed everybody like that.
Yes, they were so dominant that it was at times. I mean, I said on Ball, I was like, this team is like watching a bunch of assassins. It's like a John Wick movie with like 5 John Wicks.
The Expendables? That's
sure.
a better. Well,
Have
it's
I-
just more of them, right? John Wick movie is 5 John Wicks. The Expendables.
And there's really not 5 John Wicks. There's only 1 John Wick, so you can't be 5
Well, there are
John
5
Wicks.
John Wicks, but then there are 5 different movies. It's all the same John Wick in a bunch
Yeah.
of different movies. She's talking about putting all of them in one movie. That's
But your
the
Expendables is better, yeah.
Or it's John Wick 5 times. Hear me out. That's it. What is he? I haven't seen the Expendables, Dan.
It's all of them.
seen the
It's all. It's.
Imagine the greatest fighters of all time. Crime fighters, all those kind of
And
people.
Kelsey Grammer.
Thrown together
What?
with one mission. One circular focus mission.
The guy from Frasier?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
and Frasier.
That is Frasier,
That
right?
would have been a funnier way for me to say it. And Frasier. Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that one. Charlotte would have. I wouldn't have gotten it.
You don't know Kelsey Grammer as Frasier?
Frasier? No, I don't know.
I barely know Kelsey Grammer as Kelsey Grammer.
I know Country Grammar.
Wow, I feel old now.
Shout
All
out to
right,
Nelly.
get me the list of the Expendables, and there are multiple Expendables movies because it eventually it went out to include Statham and a bunch of others. But I think the original conceit was, can you believe that Schwarzenegger is it Schwarzenegger and Stallone were in the same movie? Was Schwarzenegger in the Expendables? I haven't seen any of these movies in such a long time.
I could Google it, but what's on my Google right now? I Googled heat collapse. Just to have some stuff to talk about today.
Who cares about that?
Well, do you know what comes up? I care about it because what comes up is heat synscope is a fainting episode or dizziness that usually occurs when standing for too long or suddenly standing up after sitting or lying. Feels a little bit applicable for what Miami did. No?
Yeah, but imagine a movie that has Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, Jet Li, Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terry Crews, Wesley Snipes, Randy Couture, Mickey Rourke, Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris, Antonio Banderas, Liam Hemsworth, Glenn Powell, Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Wait,
Scott Adams.
They're all in
Are
the
you kidding
same
me?
movie. You're just learning of this now. You're stunned. Charlotte is wide-eyed. That's a real
Glenn
thing.
Powell? Like, this is recent? You say the Expendables.
Expendables 1 is from 2010.
I think he's listing all of the movies there. I don't think that he is that wasn't.
There's more than one
there's-
Expendable?
There are multiple Expendables movies.
You know what
yes.
they call Miami Heat?
He was doing the whole series. I
Hold
believe.
on a minute.
Expendables.
Charlotte's trying to make a joke here. Will you leave room for the Stugotz seat to make a joke?
I feel the power of Stugotz sitting here. I feel myself just getting cockier and
I know,
and
but
more...
you didn't make the joke. Are you going to make the
Okay,
joke?
you know what they call Miami Heat, Dan? The Expendables.
Go sit in the penalty box.
No, please, please.
I do
Please,
think-
Dan,
No,
please.
but you can't beg
No.
your way out of the penalty box. Go sit in there for
I
2
do
minutes.
think there is a conversation to be had about this Heat team because everyone's just assuming that they didn't have enough. I don't know what we learned about this Heat team this season because of all the injuries. I do think there's one thing we learned, and it's Tyler Hero. I think we learned his ceiling is lower than we thought.
All right, well, let's explain some of this here because I deserve Heat fans and other fans are coming after me today, and I deserve this particular bit of criticism. I've told you along the way what it is that the Heat's assessment was of Tyler Hero. When he was drafted, Devin Booker was one of his favorite players, and the Miami Heat's assessment, not my assessment, was that his ceiling was Devin Booker, that he should think that high. That was the hope for him. And so I told you that. Before last season, though, no one from the Miami Heat told you what I told you, which is now the bad analysis that is circulating all around Heat Twitter and the country. A whole bunch of people laughing at me because I dared to say a year ago that Maxey wasn't that much better than Tyler Hero, that there wasn't that much of a difference. Now, at the time that I said that, Maxey wasn't the most improved player, but my analysis on projection obviously wrong. Tyler Hero cannot lead a team as the primary scorer. The last 3, not a good playoff team, and not against that defense. And last night again, they're in 80-point range. They're playing the games that the Knicks and the Heat were playing in the 1990s when the rules were all different because they can't get any offense. And the reason for that is all of their players are hurt. All of their offense is hurt. And so the only offense they had out there was Tyler Hero. And when that's the case, he'll start looking like Trae Young without the 35 shots because no one for the Heat is ever going to take 35 shots.
I think it's fair to say that there are multiple things here. The Heat we never got to see what this team could have been like at full strength at any point this season, by the way. When Terry Rozier was acquired, you didn't really get to see very many games of him and Tyler Hero as potential scoring options.
More starting lineups than any Heat franchise has ever used in a season.
And the only team with as many starting lineups as they had that finished above 500, they finished 10 games above 500. It was a war of attrition all season long, and you didn't really get an opportunity to see what they could have been at full strength. At the same time, you are allowed to make the assessment of, hey, there are some tweaks needed to be able to turn this team into a title contender moving forward.
You admitted it.
I said all year long.
No, wait a minute. But hold on. Yes, thank you, Jeremy, for allowing us to have the opinion, hey, Pat, can you make some tweaks? Thank you for giving us permission. No, you can't say. You're going to wait until I'm finished saying, and then you can say.
That's fair.
Thank you for allowing me that as well. Heat fans today do not want to hear about tweaks. And while we can sit here and lament injury, everyone can, and offer that as perspective, that Celtics team has gotten a good deal better and is younger. And you've fallen behind them in a way that requires more than just tweaks. It's not just tweaks. It is obvious if Tyler Hero isn't going to rise to be a player like Maxey, it is then obvious that the player you have to get for a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler is someone who is better than Jimmy Butler, so that if he's going to age here, he's going to do so not as the lead player.
Offensively, fair. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler is your core. I think what the issue in the initial reaction has been is this concept of like blow it up, right? What does blow it up mean? Because your core has been three guys.
Greg Cody said that dynamite the team, and then he said dynamite it strategically. So where are we on this between dynamite the team?
It's TNT Day, Dano.
Dynamite the team, dynamite strategically, and tweaks.
Well, okay, so dynamite strategically, I guess, is really what it is, right? Because it's taking potentially Tyler Hero or other players and turning it into different supporting cast around Jimmy and Bam. Dynamite means get rid of everybody.
I think we should put Tony outside of the arena just making that gesture. I think we should have like a gathering or create a seance or bring someone over from a Santeria Bodega and go over there and have some sort of ritual that gets the haunting out of that place.
TNT Day, Dano. You know, obviously it's at the memoriam, everybody wants to see what happened in the season. Greg Cody was right 2 weeks ago. TNT Day. It's right now.
Remember when Kyrie saged the Celtics, the TD Garden?
Yes.
You could see if he's... Oh, sorry, no, he's busy because he's also still in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, the Heat
We're going to use a player like him.
Yeah, the Heat aren't.
We're going to...
I'm fine.
We're going to hang banners here. The Heat season lasted longer than LeBron's, lasted longer than Steph's.
That's right.
Lasted longer than Devin Booker's and
Kevin
Durant's. Those are the banners that are going to go up for this Heat season. What can we do, Tony, outside of the arena to get to give some Latin spirituality to getting the vibes out of that place? Because one of the great this is the thing that snuck up on me. Okay, and I'm going to say snuck up on the Heat, even though they tried to get Damian Lillard. When you've gone 2 straight seasons as the equivalent of the 8 seed, and then the top of the conference gets so much better than what you're presently offering, the window just closed. The Butler window just closed, and you've got to see that if you're the organization 2 years faster than I see it.
The conversation has been getting a star around Bam Adebayo's age and prime, right? And that kind of was the conversation before last season as well, that if you were going to acquire whatever superstar, it was going to be someone that could complement both the Jimmy and Bam window. Not someone as young as Tyler Hero that was still developing, but someone that was more established. Those players initially that were floated out there, Bradley Beal, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell even, all of those trade partners seemingly were asking for Bam Adebayo. And so the answer was no, as it should have been the entire time. You were building around a future with Bam. The problem has been when the Heat have offered Tyler Hero and pieces, that has not been enough to get whatever the star is. And that's why this offseason is so complicated.
But that's why Mike suggested, and he's not saying Bam's not good, he's your best piece. Yeah. If you're going to get a star, and I'm not saying trade Bam.
No franchise would have Bam and trade Bam unless you're getting like Luka Doncic.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If you want to get a star like that, but we mentioned the Heat's window closing. Can you slam a window?
Absolutely.
What's the most aggressively you can close a window?
Might break.
You can break it,
You slam
but then
doors
you can still
shut.
go through it. So I would think slamming it. Let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to the Heat, how much of the Heat culture, the mentality, the like we're tough, do you think that ever becomes a liability in terms of?
It's never a liability. It's always something that matters. Even when it gets eliminated from the playoffs, I imagine it coming back in game 1 of the next series the Celtics play and strangling Derek White to death.
See, this is what I'm looking for.
Well, here's the problem.
You're not going to get it from me.
No,
I'm
but
fine.
here's
You
the-
told me I wasn't sad enough last year when the Celtics were losing. So
I will tell you what's sad about this. This is what people will get today that they did not get a few days ago that they wanted from this show when the Miami Heat were down 3-1. And this is what they'll get today because there are a couple of things here that really are they're shivving the Heat fan base. One is that you're watching New York really enjoy basketball right now. Mm-hmm. 2, you're watching Boston Celtics basketball be as overwhelming as it's been this century. And I'm including a championship team in there. I'm including a team that went to 2 finals in there when I tell you that this thing that I'm watching that runs roughshod over everybody in the league for an entire season, this can beat anyone that way 4 times in 7 games. But this is the part that stings. Like what I'm about to say, even with all your rationale, and it is rational, about, well, they were injured and this and this and this. After 5 years fighting at the top of that conference, the very 2 best teams in that conference, rivals, legitimate rivals, the Celtics just ended the Heat as we know them. This team like this, Riley does not keep with these things where he's seeing things 2 years later than he should be seeing them without changing them. I've told you before, I think it was a Make-A-Wish dinner, right before Pat Riley was headed to a charity dinner of some sort and told everybody that he was not going to blow up the team, he wasn't going to trade anybody. And then 9 dudes got traded during dinner. Like during the charity dinner, because he's not going to do it this way where he loses to that team, loses to that organization, and has everyone know, oh, the Celtics just passed you. And they didn't just pass you as a team. They did that, yes. But now they've done it as an organization because you've got Brad Stevens in charge of something. And over the last 2 years, while you were fighting at the top of the conference, his team got better than your team.
Also, Brad Stevens winning Executive of the Year. I mean, the broadcast, they said, Executive of the Year, and just panned in on him and just held there. And I feel like that is the cruelest thing that's what, to Pat Riley, it's like, wait a second, that's my crown. Like, I'm the mastermind. I'm the one who builds these things. I find the pieces we need. I make the moves that no one else saw coming. I move these chess pieces, and his team is out there. Obviously, the injuries, you can't, that's a very real
Nobody
thing.
cares this time of year.
Sure.
And cares. I'm tired of hearing about the injuries. They're the most injured team.
So without the injuries.
Okay, so
And-
without the injuries, then
Without the injuries, if you look at it, I mean, that's what the Heat did to both the Bucks and the Celtics the last couple of years, is they beat them so handily that they changed the pieces around their core. They had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and they added Derek White, and they got rid of Marcus Smart, and they added Kristaps Porzingis because the Heat were too good.
You love this
The
course
Bucks,
so much.
But they
No, the
added,
Bucks,
they added
the same
pieces.
deal.
The Heat
wasn't
didn't.
the Heat,
No, but-
did the Heat make him do that?
Yeah, they beat them in 7 in the conference finals,
Sure.
and they changed
Okay,
their
sure.
team. And the
Yeah.
Bucks did the same
Jeremy's
thing
not
by
wrong.
getting rid of Drew
I
Holiday
know.
and turning him into
Put
Damian
that on
Lillard.
the banner, too. Put on the banner, made the Celtics trade for greatness.
But that's exactly what will
Made
happen
them
with
better.
the Heat, is that they'll get better. They'll try to make moves to get better. The position that they're in that is tough is what do you do to get better? Because this past offseason, they tried to do the same thing. They had one conversation with Joe Cronin, and then Joe Cronin iced them out of spite, and they couldn't land Damian Lillard, and then they had no backup option. That's on them to come back and not be able to go from there. But their idea was, when fully healthy, the deepest team we've had, all of those things. And then it all fell apart in the end because of a Jimmy Butler knee injury and Terry Rozier sleeping wrong on the road.
Because of a pump fake. Like, it's not a knee injury. It's a pump fake that led to the knee injury.
I can't believe that is a criticism.
What are we doing?
Jeremy, hold on a second. Jeremy, for the record, when you say you don't, what is that as criticism, the pump fake? I'm not going to criticize that pump fake. I'm going to tell you that the first most obvious sign that a star player who was athletic is in decline, and Wade will tell you this, and Barkley will tell you this, man, I hated my career when I had to start with all the pump fakes because I had to get guys up in the air because I couldn't be over them anymore. Like, that's how it ages in that sport with scorers and drivers.
Jason Tatum did all series was pump fake and draw fouls.
Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson would like a word.
Jeremy.
It's just how you play the game.
Jason Tatum is not 35.
No, I'm not arguing that Jimmy's in the same athletic prime.
Jimmy Butler, the last few times we've seen Jimmy Butler play playoff games, the last of the finals, and he hasn't had legs.
Yeah.
What the Jimmy Butler I saw against Denver in the finals was a Jimmy Butler who would not beat Denver if they played 1,000 times because there was no way he was going to get to one of those 40-point games.
He didn't have legs the moment he rolled his ankle against the Knicks. Like, that was it. He got hurt when Josh Hart fell under his foot. He rolled his ankle. He didn't play for most of the rest of that series, and he didn't look like himself against the Celtics. Caleb Martin was the hero of that series.
You remember last year when Jimmy hurt his ankle and the Knicks were like, you know what? I don't think we're going to go right at him. They're like, we're going to let Jimmy.
It was a crazy
Yeah,
approach.
we're just going to let Jimmy rehab in the corner here and not take advantage of that.
I've got to tell you that as I'm watching what's happening here, this is, I don't think it's prisoner of the moment to say that if I tell you without any of the emotional context, one of these teams has been an 8 seed for 2 years, and the other one has been consistently getting better, except when they run into the 8 seed.
Yes.
And now this is the best version of the Celtics that I have seen this century. And I'm telling you that as someone who saw them beat Kobe, who saw them play against Kobe in the finals, who saw them win a championship with Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. That team didn't do what this team has done to the league, and Boston's going to largely get to the finals playing all of its games like that because no one in this conference can play with that.
Well, it's terrifying when you to watch them play, the ruthlessness and the efficiency. And when when all of your players have close to 20 points in a game, your best players, your starting players, it starts to be like, how does anybody combat that? What is anyone to do when everybody's a threat? You double team one guy?
No,
okay.
but I'll tell you how to combat it, right? It's difficult because the Heat made more three-pointers in one game than they made in all of the rest of the games combined. The way you beat it is to be better at threes than they are. But when I tell you that I think this Celtics team is better than the one I was watching with Ray Allen, I am accounting for the way the game has changed, how differently it's played, and how perfectly suited the spacing on this team is to beat everyone they play by double digits. Do you understand how rare it is to see playoff games? I know the Heat got the one, and it distorts things, where a team is just from start to finish up by 20 and 30 points, and you're not going to do anything about it. Like, that's not how playoff games work. Not one against 8, not at all, and then they just grind you to dust in the last one. And you can say all you want about the injuries and the offense. The Celtics do that to everybody. Whether you're hurt or not, they beat you by 20, they beat you by 30, they beat you by 50 a couple of times this season, and it's why I'm telling you, like, it may lose, and whatever the analysis is about their frailties may come to be. I don't know what Denver or Minnesota or OKC will match up with them in the finals. But if this team doesn't get hurt, like, it's a clear sail to the final.
And you look at the number one seed in the other side of the conference, in the Western Conference, the Pelicans gave OKC a bunch of tough games, right? And then you look over in the East, and
not
it's
a bunch. They gave them
three tough games.
A couple.
They didn't win one.
A couple.
They swept them, right?
Yes.
They
Am
got
I
swept.
hallucinating?
No, Tony's just.
SGA hit a game winner in one of them.
That was the close one.
There was a couple tough
I'm like,
games.
Did
It's
we
okay.
watch
You
the
don't
same
have to
thing?
entrench yourself here. You can
I'm
get to the
entrenching
rest of the
myself.
point.
There was
You
a
don't
couple.
need to-
There was a couple of tough games in a way where there wasn't in the Heat and Celtics.
They
series.
won a game. What are you talking about?
It wasn't even close.
All right, Tony, go sit in the penalty box.
You need me here, Dan.
No, I don't need you here.
I like that.
Not if that's going to be the analysis. Get
The
out of here.
Celtics
I
are
like that.
a
It was a
world beater.
tough sweep. They gave him a tough sweep.
It was.
It was. Not really.
The Lakers had a
Maybe a little
really tough one.
The last two games weren't very.
Is
Tony,
there
get
such
out of the
a thing?
room.
Is there
Get-
such a thing?
I'm doing a little research here. Hold on.
It's not. Put it on the poll, Juju. Is there such a thing as a tough sweep? And video, please put on the screen there just the outfit that Tyler Hero came into the game with. You cannot beat an overwhelming Celtics team dressed this way. You can't. This is not. I mean, come on. Come on.
Oh, Popeye.
Come on. I said.
Popeye.
I
Where's
did.
Waldo?
I said this was as good as Maxi.
Gotta shave that chin too. Gotta
Yikes.
shave
It
that
is.
chin.
It is the chin strap.
What
That's
kind
the.
of hat is that? Tony's still arguing with me during the break.
Tough sweep. Two of the 4 games, Dano, 50% of the games were under double digits. 1 by 2, 1 by 9.
At Le Batard Show, is there ever such a thing as a tough sweep when only 2 of the games are under double digits?
Lakers almost had a tough sweep against the Nuggets. Come on, guys. You guys don't watch ball, clearly.
David Sampson, real hoopers know. Tony knows.
Thank you.
David Sampson joins us now. Nothing Personal is the name of his podcast. I suggest that you check it out because there's no one doing exactly what he's doing as a solo voice, tackling the stuff he's tackling. Before we get to him, though, Charlotte, go ahead and have at Tyler Hero's outfit. It is behind me. I don't know where you're looking. It's giant and behind me.
Yeah.
And you had thoughts on everything that Tyler Hero is doing here. That hat looks like something that has been in my, like underneath the seat of my car for about 3 weeks. Just the shape of the hat. I'm talking about something that looks like something my father would wear because it's not, and it also looks like a gone fishing hat as well.
Yes, but hear me out, Dan. That is cool now. The individual pieces of Hero's outfit, I actually don't have a problem with. I think that this hat is charming.
The hat's fire.
It's fire. It's vintage. I can't read it because I don't have my glasses on.
It looks like an
Even though
SEC championship
they're
game of some sort.
It's fire and vintage, but I can't see it.
Well,
The
no,
90s?
the
The
writing.
90s are coming back now. Is that what's happening?
It's 1994
They've been back,
SEC
Dan.
Gators versus someone.
Gators, yep, can't tell. Doesn't matter. Cool hat. I like the black brim. That is a way that the kids these days are wearing the hats, which is, a little misshapen. The sunglasses, too. Fine. For me, it's the boat neck of the shirt with a little bit of the white shirt. If you're listening to this in the audio medium that some are wont to do, this is a red, orange, sort of heat-colored striped shirt with a black collar and a boat neck, and you can see some white underneath.
This
paired
is
with the goatee,
it's
Dan,
a normal neck of a normal-sized NBA player. That's what happens when a toddler wears an NBA player's shirt. And look, the neck size. That's the neck.
Looks like you pushed a watermelon through it.
Shaq's head wouldn't fit through that.
It's a style. Well, I think
but
on it, but
it's
it would be
his-
scaled to an NBA player so that it would still be a boat neck, Dan. He looks very French
I
in a Florida way.
I couldn't have any less style, but I like a tight neck. I like a tight neck with my shirt.
Samson, do you have any thoughts here on what it is that we're presently doing?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a dress code when you're on the road with your team.
Oh,
And this clearly is not it.
Oh, no.
What
Come
year
on,
are you
David.
in?
What
Oh,
are you
no.
talking
Maybe wear a
about?
suit up there. Give me a break.
Oh, no.
There's a dress code. You have to
We
be
had a dress code.
presentable
David.
when you're on the road going from the hotel to the bus and then the bus into the ballpark. And I also question the 94. Is that a little dig to Pat Riley?
No,
'Cause Pat Riley does not like 1994.
because
no, is it his age? I'm looking at.
Whoa, he is not 94. David,
No. Oh, he was born in 2000, Tyler Hero.
No, Pat Riley does
Oh,
not like
sorry.
1994.
Charlotte, go sit in the penalty box.
please,
Go sit in
Dan.
the penalty box for 2
Please.
minutes. Get out of here.
I keep having to get up.
David, can you just stand up for a second so I can see your dress code? Can you just stand up? Okay, very good.
Perfect. Marlins basketball shorts.
All right.
I still have a connection in the clubhouse.
I want to talk to you about Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, getting an amazing offer. This is not something I think I can recall seeing. Being offered $10 billion for his team, his stadium, and F1. What did you think of that report?
The first thing I thought is that he says he doesn't need estate planning, but he does. He wants to keep certain assets in the family. It's hard to pass down 3 levels of assets that he has, which are he's got a huge amount of real estate assets. I assume most of those are in trusts. But when you have a team and then the stadium, 2 different assets, and then people are calling F1 an asset, we should point out he doesn't own F1. What he has is the ability and a contract to put F1 races on his stadium land. And that's very valuable. But the biggest piece of his pie is clearly the Dolphins, which the Commanders went for $6 billion. You could argue the Dolphins are a $5 billion team. The stadium has a ton of different events, but is it $3 to $4 billion worth to own that land? People outside of Miami, I don't know if you saw this. The land in South Beach is invaluable. I read that on a blog somewhere, and I laughed because the stadium's in Miami Gardens. They just show pictures of South Beach whenever they're showing the Dolphins games. But if that offer is real, and I doubt it is, it deserves consideration.
Tell me about the offer, though. Why do you doubt that it is? Why do you think that this is coming out? What did you think of the valuations of F1 and Stadium? Just take me through the finances of some of this, as you're doing a sporting class with Skipper this week, correct? We've got that coming out tomorrow?
Yes, it's coming out tomorrow. We did it yesterday, and it's actually a very, very good episode. People like that story. We have so much to talk about that we did. We didn't even get to this because it merely is a rumor. We had people calling up the Marlins all the time offering to buy the team and putting crazy numbers out there, even crazier than the $1.2 billion that actually ended up being the sale price, because people throw numbers out because it makes them feel good that they can maybe finance it or maybe do it or maybe own. How cool it is with the Grand Prix this weekend to be the sort of celebrity that Steve Ross is. But when you break down the different assets, a stadium, and don't forget that Hard Rock Stadium gets public subsidy. People don't talk about that a lot, but every deal that Steve Ross has done to bring tennis, to bring Grand Prix, even with Dolphins, he gets public money for that. But the bottom line is a stadium in general has never been worth, even with the real estate, in the billions of dollars, no matter what events you're having there. The biggest one is the Dolphins, and I think the Dolphins are worth less than the Commanders, not more. So $10 billion, if you're going to split it 5-4-1 with $1 billion, the value of an F1 contract, that is something that I don't know if it can't be real. Because if it were, as a business person, as an octogenarian, as someone with estate planning issues, you've got to take that deal.
Chris Cody, do you know if we have any audio of David Sampson stridently saying that Major League Baseball would not change its uniforms at any point during the season? Because you came on very strong here. You're rarely that kind of obviously loud wrong.
Wait, how am I wrong?
Because they are changing the uniforms, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
No, not till next season.
So you're claiming, all right, we'll see if we can get the sound of what it is you claim.
I'll give you the sound.
Well, no, I don't.
The sound
no,
is I said they're not changing the uniforms this year.
They looked it up, and it turned out David was kind of right. So that's why we didn't cut the sound.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, we can't do that. We can't cut the sound if David's right. What fun
Well,
is
we could
that?
cut it off before he's right.
What fun is that?
They sent it to me. I said, get this sound out of here.
You guys did that to me the other day.
Okay, go sit in the penalty box, Jeremy.
I'm just trying to help,
It
man.
does
I'm
say
producing.
changes will be made to both uniforms and pants no later than the start of the 2025 season, which
Get out
could
of
be
here, Jeremy.
sooner.
I want to ask you about this other story, David, because I think James Dolan is missed already just a great opportunity, because Michael Rubin, a former Sixers owner, has bought 2,000 tickets for local distribution in Philadelphia tonight so that the Knicks fans cannot take over the arena again the way they did last time, and he's giving them away to first responders. I think James Dolan should have bought 3,000 tickets, given them away to first responders, and then sent them all down to Philadelphia. He had a real opportunity to just
A game of first responders? Were we playing like the Army-Navy game? We're just full of military?
You just try to buy a bunch of good marketing by just shipping them around as like bobbleheads all over the place.
That's
Just
4,000 tickets for Marines right here.
Michael Rubin made a mistake here by bringing in Josh Harris and David Blitzer into the conversation. Those are the owners of the Sixers. Michael Rubin's not. He's a former owner who had to sell because he started an online gambling app. So as part of buying PointsBet Fanatics, he had to divest of the Sixers ownership. Yet he then goes public saying the Sixers ownership was a part of this, and it couldn't be a worse look, because the irony is that the 2,000 seats they bought, you can bet your bippy, are above the camera angle. So when the camera is doing the game tonight, you're going to see maybe 15 to 20 rows up, and it's going to be plenty of Knicks fans.
Sorry, David.
And so therefore, what he is trying to do by bringing Sixers fans to the upper deck Who gives a rat's pituitary gland? And it just brought bad press upon the existing owners of the Sixers, like they're desperate. I found that should just be bad every step of the way.
Can we go back to Bet Your Bippy for a second?
What's a
David?
Bippy?
What's a Bippy, and
Is
why are
that
you betting it?
the guy that does shows for kids?
What?
Or is that Blippy?
That's Bluey.
That's Blippy.
What's
Blippy,
your
yeah.
what's your Bippy? What is it to bet one's Bippy?
I always viewed my Bippy as my core.
Really, it sounds to me like you're betting your grandmother. Doesn't Bippy sound like something
It
someone
does.
would
It
call their
does
grandmother?
sound like something.
Holding up stockings with a clipper.
My dear old.
That's a Bippy.
My dear old Bippy.
I'm seeing the expression "you bet your sweet Bippy" was popularized in the late 1960s television show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
Funny, that's what I was going to call a podcast I wanted to pitch to you, Dan.
Is that what you were referencing? 1960s laughing?
No. And if that's the provenance, then thank you for telling me that, Chris. I've now learned something. I just say, instead of bet your ass, I say bet your Bippy.
It's
Because I
a
don't want to say ass
euphemism.
on the show.
Yeah,
It's
don't
a
say ass.
euphemism for an unspecified part of the body.
Baby.
All right, so you can bet your unspecified part of the body.
Generally
I
understood
like to
as
think it's a belly
butt
button.
or ass.
Well,
Bet your belly button. That's not
who,
happening.
who are you being right now? Who is this? Who were you impersonating? Was that a man? Was that a woman? Was that a Southerner? What was that?
Just being herself.
That was me doing a version of myself. You know, someone on YouTube commented and said, it sounds like Charlotte's on muscle relaxers.
You've sounded like that today. You haven't really been aggressive. Like, that seat's aggressive.
I'm aggressive.
If you're going to sit there, Charlotte, you got to be
You've
on
been talking
point.
under your breath. You've been trying to sneak in. What?
I think
this
she's been
is-
great.
Thank
I'm not
you
saying
so
she
much.
hasn't
Me
been
too.
great, but she needs to be a little more aggressive in that seat.
Okay, David, why did you say bet your Bippy?
There you go. But we already
Well,
answered that.
Charlotte,
Is that
because I
better?
didn't want to say bet your ass.
There
Well,
you
maybe
go.
you should try saying bet your ass.
You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, go Charlotte.
You don't have
Say it with your
menacing-
chest,
no,
Dan.
yeah. David, good talking to you. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Say it with your unspecified body part, Dan.
Yes. I really do need some help from all people involved here at what is happening with fashion and style. And I have to, on the front end, say I am nobody to critique anybody's fashion or style, but I am confused by something that is presently happening. I told Tony this the other day, where my wife bought me a pair of sneakers, and I'm looking at them, and I say when I see them, I would never wear those. Those are sneakers that when I was a young boy in the 70s, if I wore them, the other kids would make fun of me. And my wife is like, no, these are popular now. And now everywhere I wear those sneakers, somebody's saying those are popular now. And what I'm seeing Tyler Hero wear, I'm not joking when I say this. When you say that 90s hat and that style is now back, my childhood neighbor, Roy Collins, a construction worker who had a tumor the size of 14 bowling balls in his belly, drank a dozen beers a day, that's the hat he always wore. That hat is what he was walking around the neighborhood with. And I don't understand how that's popular now.
What sneakers did she buy you?
Oh, I don't know.
They were Nike Dunks, if I remember correctly.
They're Nike. They're Nikes, yeah.
Nike. They're Nike.
Son Ribas on Nike. Only a few people will get that. Only a few people will get that reference, Daniel. But if you do, I nailed it.
It was very inside, yes.
So I don't know that that the shirt is necessarily in style. I mean, maybe it is because Tyler Hero is an NBA player who's wearing it, but I do think something is going on with fashion that's going on with a lot of other stuff, with entertainment, with movies, music, is that the 90s and the 2000s, this nostalgia for that time is what's driving a lot of the things that people like. And I think now this hat is a perfect example of like someone finds that Tyler Hero was born in 2000. He's like, oh, look at this old hat. But to you,
well, this is what I'm
Roy
asking you.
Collins for.
Thank you for remembering
Guy
his
with the
name.
tumor.
Yes, it was a giant beer belly, and then we later found
So
out
is it a tumor? Oh, it's a
yeah, well, yeah, well,
yikes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Poor Roy.
This
but
could be a tumor?
He was always shirtless, and he was always wearing the only cloth on the upper half of his body would be that hat. But I'm talking here, and I don't know if I'm now going through two cycles of fashion. I'm talking about 70s coming back in the 90s and coming back again. Are these now?
Yes.
Yes.
These are now the cycles that every generation latches on the front end of the thing that was popular in the last generation.
Yes, and not only did the 70s come back in the 90s, but the 70s and the 90s have come back. And then we went past them and we went to the 2000s with low-rise jeans, which...
Throwback jerseys are inevitable soon. Like, that was the biggest thing in the aughts, was everybody wearing a throwback basketball jersey, like the Sonics or the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Are
or
those
one
not
of the
still in?
They were in, but like at music festivals. I'm telling you, I think that's the next thing. Throwback football jerseys, throwback basketball jerseys, they're going to come back in this time because everybody's nostalgic for the aughts.
When are Timberlands coming back?
In New York, they never left.
Never left.
The official shoe of New York City is the Timberland boot. Wheat, by the way. Unless it's summer or winter, then you hit the all black. But the point is, Dan, there is such a demand for vintage clothing, vintage accessories, vintage gear that people are making millions of dollars going through old, like, storage units, people's grandmother's houses. Like, there's people that find stuff from 1994, like those hats that actually came out in 1994, and people pay $200-300 for a hat like that.
I spent time on my honeymoon at a vintage shop on purpose. I bought this watch at a vintage shop because...
On purpose?
Yeah, on purpose.
I like thinking that you would go in there
Accidentally.
by accident. Like,
Oh, you
I
could just
fell
kind of stumble
a
into
vintage
it. You could
shop.
stumble into it.
Oh, weird,
You're
I bought
walking
a
along the
watch.
street. Hey, cool, a vintage shop. No, we went out of our way to find that place.
Jeremy, go sit in the penalty box. Samson, what were you saying? I'm sorry, you were laughing at everything there. What were you saying?
I'm just laughing. People are hoarders, and what they do is they say, hey, it's going to come back at some point, so I keep all the clothes that I've ever had waiting for something out of style to come back in style. But what was trump that is Tony thinking that anyone is making millions of dollars by going to their storage unit. It's not.
Dave.
That is total hyperbole.
Dave,
They are.
There are massive vintage shops that people are making millions of dollars a year, 100% guaranteed.
Yes, the vintage industry is doing very well. That part is true. I think David's objecting to the idea of finding it in an old storage unit, like Greg Cody going out back, finding
Right.
a 1994 Orange Bowl briefcase that they gave him,
Ooh.
and all of a sudden that's on
He's a millionaire.
Antique Roadshow, and he's worth $3 billion.
No, of course. But it's a grind, though. You got to go to the thrift shops. You got to get it. You got to clean it. Like, there's a process to it. But the people that dedicate their lives and that's their business is going out and finding these vintage clothing articles, like, they're making good money.
Every city has a specialty vintage person and business who's going out and finding these things, like Mr. Throwback in New York City. Actually, my friend has one, Game Day Grill. Was going so well.
It was going well. You were so confident.
I was
You were
saying it with
soaring.
my chest.
You were parasailing. I saw you. You were floating near the
gust of
sun.
wind that dropped all
and
Right
then-
into a building.
And yeah, that's what happened. She just flew right into the sun. We'll get back to Charlotte's jumbled thoughts on this in a moment. What is the movie you're reviewing for us this week, David? I let you go, and I forgot to ask you.
I'm reviewing Project Iceman. Project Iceman is about an individual who went to Antarctica to do an Ironman triathlon, where you swim 2.4 miles in the freezing water in Antarctica. Then you bike 112 miles on the snow and ice. Then you run a marathon on the snow and ice. And it took him about 74 hours to do. The speed of the bike was slower than your 3-year-old on a tricycle because of the wind and because it's just impossible to bike. He kept falling off his bike.
Ugh.
And it's a movie about the experience of someone who's unwilling to quit. And it got me thinking about how many of us have that reserve in us to accomplish something. And if you're looking for motivation, or if you're looking to think about doing something that you don't think you can do, watch Project Iceman, and it will absolutely motivate you.
Can you explain this to me for a second? Because I don't think I'm built like you. So when you say that motivates you, I say, no, I'm a quitter there. I don't need to pedal a bicycle like that. And I don't have the mentality to even understand what you're talking about. For those who do not know, David ran 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. He loves this kind of stuff. I don't understand punishing yourself like that, and I do understand trying to reach beyond your limits, but what you're talking about here sounds so unpleasant. Why would I want to do that?
Because it's momentary unpleasantness for a lifetime of accomplishment. So that's how you have to view when I did the Ironman or even the marathon last week. I cried during it because my body shuts down, but then you finish and you have that sense of accomplishment. And when you have to do something work-related or athletic-related, everybody quits. It's the people who don't that you want to associate with. It's the people who understand the grind who you want to associate with, who make your company better or yourself better. And athletics are a way to test that.
It's funny that you say that, though, because I'm just looking around this room and I've thought to myself, I ride with the quitters. Like, I got a whole bunch of people here who aren't down. Like, I'm like, I got a whole bunch
Did
of
you see our faces and we're all like,
we're like, no, all of us were like, wait a minute. He fell off the bike how many times, and he's pedaling up the wind. And why
he ran a marathon with the big shoes on, like those big ice shoes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ronald McDonald shoes. Like, what are we
Rackets on his feet?
What
Like,
are we doing? What are we doing?
The fact is that you're more capable of doing things than you realize. And in a workplace atmosphere, wouldn't it be good, Dan, to motivate your container, your employees, to let them know that they can be better than they are? They can do more. There are no limits.
I don't know, though, that I see talking into a microphone as similar to running in the snow.
Do
It's
a frozen
the
ice,
commitment
man.
to excellence. That's what it's about for me. It's
But
about committing.
I would argue as well, though, that somewhere in there, now this is deeper than that, and this, I don't know everyone's mindset on this stuff, but I also think that you have a bit of a commitment to suffering. So, and you might conflate those things, that you can't get one without the other.
I don't conflate them. I acknowledge that. I don't believe that you can get to greatness without suffering, because you need that frame of reference. Much like I don't think you can get to happiness without experiencing sadness. You have to have a frame of reference. And doing these sort of athletic things that I try to do that anyone could do, they definitely give me a frame of reference when I'm being lazy, either at work or at play or in a relationship.
I don't think anyone can do them, though. I think it's a very specific, like, my back would give out in 2 seconds, but it doesn't mean that I'm a quitter in my job.
I'd be super interested to sort of see if there were any viral strain that ran amid all of these extreme personalities to get you to the roots of what it is that that feeds this, because it is the Ironman competition is a particular mindset. Very few people in the world are built to be Navy SEALs, David.
No, I'm just talking about, it doesn't have to be an Ironman. It can be a 10K for some people. That's the mistake that people make here. I don't care if it's a 30-hour event, which I've done before, or if it's a 30-minute event, which I've done before. It's about getting out of your comfort zone and doing what you don't think you can, and then realizing that you were wrong about what you're able to do. That's why I like these athletic endeavors.
The turkey trot, 1998. I'm 9. And I was like, maybe foot races just aren't for me.
But do something else. How about doing a 100-mile bike ride?
100 miles.
You don't strike me. I may have you wrong here. I don't know you this way. You don't strike me as aggressively competitive.
Well, I am. It's just sneakier, and you don't know I'm doing it.
David is aggressively competitive in a way that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I played ping pong against him once, and I wanted to run away because it felt like a spider monkey.
Who won?
Who won? He did. But I was just sort of terrified of how competitive he is. I don't like that.
That all stems from, if we're going to get on the couch for 10 seconds, that stems from being bullied and made fun of because I was so short that I chose sports where I could beat the bigger kids without them thinking I had a chance to be good, like dodgeball and ping pong or darts or things like that, because I couldn't beat anyone at basketball and I couldn't hit a baseball. So I got really good at sports that don't require that sort of size.
So does that mean I'm going to get hyper competitive, David, because of bullying?
You've got the sun going. Do you have an eye infection, Jeremy?
No, I'm fine.
Get out of here.
I'm
fine. Go sit in the penalty
I'm
box
fine.
again.
I'm fine.
Go. Get out of here.
David, I think I can maybe beat you at darts.
I doubt that, but anytime
Dart off.
I would
I'm
love
really
to play.
good at darts.
I'm good at darts too, and ping
Yeah?
pong. I'll take you in ping pong.
Okay.
Stugotz in the corner just ripping darts, though.
Oh, Chris, I think you'd lose to him in ping pong.
I'm pretty good.
I
bet he is good. I'm just saying, I'd like to play him.
I think you'd lose to him in
We should do a Meadowlark Olympics of darts and ping pong.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody here would be terrible. Thank you, David. Good seeing you.
All right, today's throwback interview is with none other than former NBA player and NBA legend Dwayne Wade. Enjoy this classic interview from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
Brooke Lopez took more shots last year than you did.
Lopez got more shots than me. I need to go talk to my coach.
You need to talk to him immediately.
This is crazy. He's a sinner. That shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't happen. You need to talk to your coach, and you need to talk to your point guard, and you need to go talk to LeBron.
Yeah, I'm about to go take this media guy to the locker room and have a conversation with everybody.
Can you tell us, Dwayne, how it is that you navigate some of this stuff? Because Pat Riley has said that the problems with teammates don't start before the winning. It starts when there's winning, and then glory needs to be shared. How do you navigate that stuff?
When problems or issues come up, we address them. At the end of the day, we're all men, and we got to respect each other as that. And we address it when they come up. And once you address it, you respect it more if you address it. And I think that's what we've been able to do is respect each other and move on from whatever we've had to deal with. So as a team, we're a family, and we have moments a lot where we say things to each other, but one thing we never do is we never let it linger on past the court. We go in the locker room and we move on from it. Either we apologize, or you know what, your point was right, and the other person should come to you and say, you know what, you was right, my bad.
When was the last time you were on the phone and you either A, lit up a customer service rep, or B, asked to speak to a supervisor?
I'm going to go on a limb and say, not in the last 10, 11 years. How about
That's
that?
right. That's
You haven't had to,
no,
really,
you haven't
to be
had
honest.
to. That's how that works. The moment you get famous, no longer do you have to do that.
Yeah, that certain things like that. I miss being able to get on the phone and light somebody up.
You can't do it. You
Yeah,
can't.
I just let Lisa do it now. I let my business manager do it now. She light everybody up for me in a very good way.
Oh, she does everything.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you have a cable appointment and they're late, so Dwayne, you're no longer calling them. She just does it for you and lights them up. That's amazing. I need an assistant. Can I borrow her?
Yeah, she's expensive though.
Yeah,
I'll let you know that. You might have to work double, triple overtime on the show.
I know you have three, Dwayne, 3 championships, but I'm focused here on the LeBron Wade era. Which championship was more difficult for you, 2 years ago or last season?
Hands down, this season right here was difficult. For me individually, it was more difficult, and for our team, we had a tough road to get there. I mean, we earned this one. If anybody had anything to say about lockout championship, you can put that to bed. We earned this championship. As you see, I mean, San Antonio could just as much as us be sitting there calling themselves champions coming back into the new season. But, it was meant for us to win it.
Did you doubt at any point during the postseason?
Yeah, I doubted it 28 seconds, it's down 5.
Yeah, we all did.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and say that, no, I knew the whole time. No, that's not true. If anybody said he knew the whole time, something wrong with him.
It's got to be such a relief, Dwayne, and I'm not saying complacency, but it's got to be such a relief going into this season to know that the project, that the experiment, no matter what happens next year, that it's been a success, that you went, and I know you're greedy, but you win two. You win two. You don't lose last year. You win two. So the thing is already a success. Nobody can say anymore that it wasn't a success, even if you don't win it this year.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, you know how we are. You know the world we live in. I deal with it. We know the world we live in is what have you done for us lately? It ain't got nothing to do with last year, the year before that. It's what have you done for us lately. So, right now, we're 0-0 just like everybody else, and when the season starts, it's gonna be what have you done for us lately, and that's the mentality and approach that we have to take.
What was your pinch me moment of the offseason, Dwayne, where you looked around and said, "I can't believe I'm here"?
When I had about 3 weeks and nobody texted me to do anything, I took the whole month of August is pretty much, traveling with my lady, traveling with my kids, and just really try to enjoy, some headspace. And then I got back and I said, all right, now it's time to work on this body right here and get his body ready for another season.
Last question with Dwayne Wade. Did you end the Kevin Durant Gatorade sponsorship?
No, I don't have that kind of juice.
Your assistant ended the Kevin Durant Gatorade relationship.
Lisa Joseph, we'll blame it on her. Dwayne, good talking to you. Good catching up with you.
No problem. Always, guys.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Always good talking to Dwayne Wade. We're back after this. Come on. You're going to tell me that wouldn't have been funny if Dolan had just gotten a bunch of firefighters and police officers and just in a train sent them that way so that we can have a battle between Philadelphia and New York about who's better to people?
Whose first
Who's
responders are first? No, you think James Dolan would ever do that, Dan?
I don't know.
He-
I didn't.
no.
I didn't think I'd find myself in a scenario where the Sixers are playing one of the biggest games I've seen from the Knicks this century, and they've got to buy fans in order to keep New York out of there. That's not something that I had on the bingo card before the playoffs started.
That is so embarrassing for Philly fans. Philly fans who punch horses in the face, police horses in the face. Talk about first responders who throw batteries. The fact that they needed to be bailed out by ownership to buy tickets, like, or did they? Or were they going to buy them and they just jumped the shark by being like, you know what? We're going to get all of you in the seats.
Could you imagine if that happened in Miami, the way that the national media would respond to the Heat fan base?
I don't think Charlotte used "jump the shark" there correctly.
Well,
I think you just threw a "jump the shark" in there, and that's not the proper way to use "jump the
Yeah.
shark." Do you even know the reference you're making? Do you know the reference you're making when you say "jump the shark"?
is it from Jaws?
It's a good guess.
I mean, it is a reasonable guess. No, it's from the Meg.
No, it's not.
No, it's from Happy Days.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't believe a
Fonz.
single thing
No, it is.
anybody's saying right now.
So wait, you don't know the what do you think? Hold on, let's backtrack for
Yeah.
a second. What do you think "jump the shark" means?
If I'm being honest, I'm not totally sure.
Okay, so you talked without knowing what words mean at a live microphone internationally.
Well, but it felt good, didn't it? The way that I said "jump the shark"
Well,
there,
it
didn't
stopped
that
me
sound
in my
natural?
it stopped me in my tracks and stopped me from talking about a pretty good
It was
game.
smooth, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, if you're not listening to her,
I had a history teacher once who was like, if you don't know how to say something, say it fast. And the way I feel about sayings like that is like, if it feels right, toss them in.
let me explain something to you that just swept over me with what I'm going to say is the haunting delight of warmth from the spirit world. It's that seat. That seat will turn anyone into him to help me.
Dan, now that you say that, I feel like every seat in this studio, there's a sense of like, there's like a spirit, and I don't want to.
It smells like cigarettes.
There's like a something. There's like a tinge of something.
And greed. It smells like cigarettes and greed and laziness. But if you put it in that seat and mix it with the ingredients of whoever it is, it gives the gift of saying things that it doesn't know what those things mean.
I got to confess something to you guys. I've known for a long time that I've had more Stugotz in me than anybody here.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Jessica thinks she's Stugotz. Jessica has done some Stugotz things. You're
Oh, yeah.
applying for the position of
No,
being
no.
more Stugotz than Stugotz?
No, not at all. I would never do that. I'm just saying there are things, you know, when you're like Stugotz tries to get into places or tries to finagle or is like,
You're a snake charmer?
well, I say jump the shark without knowing what it means.
Yeah, and you think it's charming.
What does it mean?
Okay, so Happy Days. Imagine a time when there were 3 networks. And imagine for 8 years, everyone gathering around the television at an appointed time because this was the #1 show in the land. And it was the #1 show in the land because the big star of this show was a man who was cool because he wore a leather jacket.
The Foz.
Hey.
The Franz?
Fonz.
The German version, the Franz.
I did not think she could do better than the Foz, which was her initial offering.
Wait.
But then it became the French television show Happy Days with the Franz.
What is it?
It's such a good show. I could conquer.
watched it. I've seen
I
it.
could conquer. No. Wait a minute. I could conquer French television television right now. The entire land I could conquer by putting together a hit show from because you guys just told me the 70s are super popular again. A hit show with the coolest guy in France, the Franz. He wears a beret. But so anyway.
It's Tyler Hero, but with a beret on.
So you have a television show that's the number one in the land, and like all television shows that are hugely popular, the moment they go on the road, they travel. Watch Entourage, go to Vegas. That's when the show's dead. And the Fonz, in what was seen as the time that show went from being good to being shitty, number one in America, to this show sucks, the point in time that references is Arthur Fonzarelli water skiing and jumping over a shark while wearing the aforementioned leather jacket while water skiing. And that was the point that the number one show in the land became a show that was then, at that moment, as he was over the shark, okay, that's when it became a shitty show. Wow. Oh, look, look here. Amazing work. Amazing work. Truly amazing work by our video crew. Here it is where television went to die right here. Arthur Fonzarelli. Look at him. Clearly him. It's not a stunt double. That is clearly Henry Winkler. He did all his own stunts back then. And
so
ridiculous. And right there when he lands, that's when the show died.
So Dan, you were watching and you were like, "Hell yeah, dude! What an episode!"
I never understood. I was always asking my mom why Fonzie was so cool. I didn't understand the
coolest
leather jacket.
Jew who ever lived, Arthur Fonzarelli.
He's gonna be Betty White for us.
He is.
Oh my God.
He already is. Henry Winkler is our favorite American old person, I think. He kind of took that lane of like every time he trends on Twitter, everybody's worried that he's dead.
I feel like Dolly Parton's up there.
Ooh, Dolly Parton is up there, but she doesn't
come across as old because she has a youthful spirit.
That's right.
Also, I definitely used jump the shark wrong, if that's what that means.
No, you did.
Well, did I though? Did I? Because if you think about it, so the Sixers ownership bought tickets for fans so that they try to have not fully Knicks fans at a Sixers game, which is deeply embarrassing. So they kind of did jump the shark. They went from like Philly fans were good fans, and then they were like, we need to buy you tickets. So they sort of jumped the shark.
I think she might have backed into it.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, if she can argue her way into it. The initial point that she's making, though, can we address this part for a second? Philadelphia is a great sports town. Everyone says so. Standard unreasonably high. The Phillies just won 20 games last month. They matter again as well. Philadelphia has spent years losing with this team to play a basketball game tonight. That is yet another referendum on the process, and I cannot wait. To me, this has been the most interesting thing that exists in the playoffs. What is happening in that series, where I look at both of those teams, I'm like, there's not a lot of difference here. And if Joel was totally healthy, they'd probably win in the playoffs, because if you have stars, you win in the playoffs, and Brunson can go 8 for 29 because it gets harder when you're the guy who's got to do all the offensive stuff. This is a giant game Philadelphia is playing tonight, and their former owner, if you guys don't know some of the history on this, Michael Rubin of Fanatics is going to be, he already is extraordinarily wealthy, but he's going to be in Bezos territory when he is done with what he's doing, which is leaving Philadelphia ownership because he wants to run the world with money. He made so many relationships that you guys remember that white party, right? Guys, get this, because every celebrity in the world was there, and he had all the marketing people around to send out all the cool videos that told you Michael Rubin has arrived in the Hamptons and has arrived in sports and has arrived at the playpen where the richest of the rich want to play. This guy is a former owner of the Sixers, but not just that. He is really good friends with Joel Embiid. Like, he did that for Joel Embiid. That's not being done for Philadelphia. Joel Embiid complained that he was pissed. Joel Embiid is saying, what is this? This is a great sports town. Michael Rubin is his friend, and he just bought 2,000 first responders for Joel. Joel needs some help tonight. Let me see what I can do. That for you who do not understand who this human being is, okay, because he got to sports briefly, didn't want to be a minority owner, was not going to be a minority owner. Like, this is a conqueror. This dude's been making giant deals since he's 14 years old. And he knows how to build relationships, and he got out of sports because this is what he wants to do. He wants to be Bezos and Zuckerberg and Musk of sports, like whatever that is, and he's going to do it. And he just bought Joel Embiid a whole bunch of cheers, a whole bunch of friends.
I mean, it's hard to argue. I do want to say I have great respect for Philly as a sports town. I have great respect for Philly fans. I'm not saying I like them. I'm just saying that as someone from Boston, as a Boston fan, I would be wildly hypocritical to sit here and be like, oh, Philly fans suck. Like, you know, you got to have a shred of self-awareness if you're going to be the person to bring Boston to the national media stage.
Put it on the poll,
There are
Juju.
not enough of us.
Worst fans, worst sports fans, more obnoxious sports fan base, Philadelphia or Boston?
But to me, what the Knicks fans did by going into the Wells Fargo arena the way they did was not as much a knock on Philly to me as it was like, look at these Knicks fans. Like, these guys are, these people are showing up for their team on the road.
But why would we do it the positive way when we can do it the negative way?
Oh, that's a good point.
In today's America, the best way to do this one is, this is not to celebrate Knicks fandom. It's to say what Jeremy was saying. Philadelphia, if this happened in Miami, where you got to buy for a playoff game, a playoff game that's a referendum on the process, because all you got left from all that losing, you used to be a franchise that competed with the Bostons of the world. Iverson dragged you up there by himself, but you haven't mattered like that. You've been laughed at for 20 years as a basketball city that's supposed to have a history, because it does. Fo is Moses Malone. You had Dr. J, and now this version of this team, the best it's got, is a broken Joel Embiid who needs the past owner to buy a bunch of fans for him so you can fill your stadium. You should be embarrassed as a sports town on that one.
And Maxey to be incredible for the entire series. Like, sick, hurt, doesn't really matter. He's just dropping 30 points a game and hitting clutch shot just game after game after game.
You mentioned sick, Tony. Charlotte came in here today, and I really do believe somehow that this is underregarded all the time in sports. Jamal Murray shouldn't have even played in that last game. If that was a regular season game, he wouldn't have been playing. He had to beg to get out there, and then he wins the game. He wins the game. For Luka to beat the Clippers last night, Charlotte came in here this way today. She's like, he was sick. I would have called out.
Well,
if I was that kind of sick,
Well,
if I felt that kind of sick, she's saying, I wouldn't have come to this job to do this today because I would have wanted to heal.
Maybe I should do some more like ice triathlons to get tougher. But no, I mean, first of all, I think, talking is different. I'd be like, well, I'm just going to get all of you sick. I'm going to sound stuffy. Who wants that?
Yeah,
but
please don't come
I
in if
didn't
you're
say
sick.
I wouldn't go in if I were Luka. I say I respect it greatly because when I'm sick, I'm a giant baby.
Okay, fair enough. It's a good distinction to be making. And you are telling me that as you walk into the room here, you're worried about getting us sick. You think Luka is looking and saying, I don't want to get Kyrie sick?
Like, if Derek Jones Jr. gets sick, they're like, hey, don't get Luka sick. But if Luka's sick, he can get Derek Jones Jr. sick.
Luka is the top of the sickness pyramid.
Who's in the middle? Like the one where we're not sure. If you're sick, I gotta ask Carlisle.
PJ
I'll get back to
Washington?
you.
PJ
Or no,
Washington,
it's-
I was going to say, yeah.
Gafford.
It's Jason
Yeah.
Kidd now. Carlisle's in India. You idiot.
Into where?
Did you say Rick
All right,
Carlisle?
he fell apart.
Oh,
go
Tony.
sit in the penalty
He's
box.
not in India. He's in Indiana.
Get out of here, okay?
Oh, Chris said it.
Leave for 2
I would
minutes.
never say that.
You lost your confidence in the middle of what it is that you were saying. We're undermanned today, and people keep going to the penalty box. Like, I feel like I'm playing hockey 2-on-5.
This is a power play.
It
not
feels
for
like
us.
No, that's
Power
what it
play
feels
by
like.
Dan.
Power play on us.
No, but it also feels like Stugotz is making a power play on me by just decimating my surroundings so that we miss him. Because tell me you didn't notice this, people. I know we were playing around with it on air. I haven't seen this spirit here since 1999 on Stugotz. Sports grabbed Stugotz by the balls yesterday and shook him, and he was surprised by the whole thing. Like, he got sort of disoriented because he didn't know he could care about sports enough to have his heart broken
He
again.
was sexually awoken by sports
yes.
again.
And there, look,
He
I want you to
He was
imagine.
talking about
Dan,
marriages.
you talk about boring sex all the time because it's like,
Tone.
doing
Tone.
the thing, then it's like, whoa.
Tone, I want you to imagine just a cobwebbed nether regions, just everything cobwebbed, everything. And then
Gross.
it's shaken to life, just shaken to life by Joel Embiid and Maxey. Maxey did that to the entire Knicks fan base. Yes, tasered the nether regions.
Whoa.
Oh, that's gross.
The last time that he felt this excited, he said he came in here saying, "Oh, when Joe Mauer was elected to the Hall of Fame." For whatever reason, that one is the only other one that woke him up.
This is what I'm telling you, and it embarrasses me to say this because I didn't see it until after it had happened. The fact that in the last 3 years, the only thing Stugotz has cared about around here at all is that Knicks loss and the Hall of Fame entrance of Joe Mauer. It's in 3 years. It's the only two things that have lit a spark of, he cares about something.
He was alive. He was shirtless in the parking lot.
It was crazy.
I walk in and he's like, well, and it's the Knicks.
He was humping the passenger side tire of my car. Like he couldn't.
Get out of here.
He was. It was like a fly around an elephant's tail. I miss that guy. I had him at the beginning of his career, back before he cashed in.
WFAT.
The draw was so powerful that I wasn't on the show yesterday, and I was like, I need to be in the building to see what Stugotz is going to be like. And it delivered.
He's going to be so scared tonight, and it's going to be so fun to watch. I don't know that what's second place for interesting on what's happened in the postseason when you have two of the weird games in that series that are decided at the end, and you're watching this part matters too. It's a very predictable sport by and large. It's usually the top 4 seeds with few exceptions. We get to game 7 on the road and then the home team wins. But I think we're all in agreement. Those two, they're kind of the same. Like either one of those teams can win that series. And if Joel were a little bit healthier, my guess is he would look a little bit better.
The variables are so different, though, Dan. That's what makes it so interesting. Yes, it could go either way, which is why it's terrifying for Knicks fans, especially because they had it in the bag. And because the variables for the Knicks, first of all, they're missing Randall. They're missing another shooter. But they also have Jalen Brunson, who actually, for once in that franchise's decades of losing, they feel confidence with him. If he's on the court, they're like, oh, we have a chance. Like we can actually win this. The Sixers are dealing with sort of the other side of that. Joel's falling apart. He is not panning out to be, he hasn't been to Eastern Conference Finals. He was the hope. He was the process. He was what we were supposed to trust. You're watching that disintegrate. So it's almost like the Knicks are on the up, the Sixers are coming down, and they're meeting at this sweet spot where Tyrese Maxey can be the difference.
I actually think that the two most interesting things in this entire playoffs is Embiid's injury and that thing, and then Knicks and their fandom and all that craziness. But the next most interesting thing, Dan, is a series nobody's watching. I think it's Cavs Magic.
Yeah.
It's been so good.
There's no way.
It's been so
They had
good.
to tell you what the score was yesterday.
I'm not saying I'm watching it. I'm just saying I think that's the second most interesting
I
thing.
disagree with Jeremy. It has not been so good.
Oh, it's competitive, Dan.
No, the fifth game was competitive. All the other games. Look, this is a change in basketball you better get used to, and it's going to stink. It's going to kill some of your viewing habits. The buzzer beaters in the close games, there are going to be a lot of these 30-point disparities, a lot of these 20-point disparities all over the place in these games that aren't as interesting as you'd like them to be because you'd like them to be closer. Like the amount of scoring in that league makes it so that Dallas is playing a game 5 yesterday, and you're like, this isn't even an interesting game on the road. I'm watching something here that I don't think this is interesting.
I feel though that my hope is that in the later rounds of the playoffs, that starts to go away. That you get more of Knicks Sixers. Knicks Sixers should not have been a 2-7 matchup. But
because Embiid was injured some of the season toward the end, when he's been healthy, they've been overwhelming. Like that's a thing it's statistically so. I don't know if they were the best team in the league while he was healthy, but it was the Celtics.
I think they were like 30-8 or something like that.
They were very good when he looked like somebody who was completely unstoppable. But you guys are talking about something, and this to me is the most interesting part of the series because you're sitting here saying that the conversation is about all this Knicks fandom and what's going to happen with Embiid, and slithering into the crevices this is where Maxey becomes a superstar. Like this is how it happens, where another guy comes into the mix. You're watching, and everyone's watching now because I'm telling you what's happening now. Whole lot of people are getting to their televisions, if not for the first time, but around, and they're like, holy shit, Maxey's faster than everybody. Everybody. Maxey is faster, and then he becomes his most improved player on the year, and he's bailing out. He is giving Embiid and the process another game because he has the fortitude to sneak into that crevice and make a shot from 30 feet.
You can make an argument that Maxey and a healthy Embiid is one of the best 1-2 punches in the East. Like, I'd put them up
Definitely.
there, maybe almost better than
Wait,
Brown
though.
and.
You wouldn't have done that before this run. This is where this stuff gets made. Like, this is how Maxey makes me maximum wrong in the comparison between Maxey and Hero. Where they were when I was talking about this, I did not allow for the jump. I've been watching just as you are, that Maxey's faster than everyone for 2 seasons.
More of a leap for me.
It was more of a leap than a jump?
I think it's a leap. A jump is...
Definitely not.
He's
a
become
hop.
elite. He jumped into the elite category.
Oh, so you have it as a jump.
Yeah, jump.
I think
Nope.
it's a leap.
A leap into elite.
A leap is better than a jump.
I think so. In
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
Is there anything better than a leap?
While literally, I feel like a leap is less than a jump, but in sports, a leap is more than a jump.
catapult?
A leap is horizontal. A jump is vertical.
There it is.
Okay, but
And Maxey has leapt
Forward.
and jumped. What is that?
wait a minute. What do you mean he's done both?
He's gone horizontal and vertical at the same time, literally and figuratively.
So
He's the most improved player this year.
A leap and a jump.
A lump.
We got to check those.
Who's won the most this playoff so far? Anthony Edwards or Maxey?
It's a great conversation because we always talk about who's got what to lose going
Who's
into the
got a lot to
postseason,
lose?
and you know it's always, hey, Kevin Durant's going in and he could lose this on his legacy, or Jimmy and Bam, they're doing that, or whoever. And we don't often talk about who's got a lot to gain just by winning a series. Both Maxey and Edwards nationally have solidified where they stand within all of these guards.
Because I don't think you know it until it starts to happen.
Right.
I don't think until an Ant starts to go off, until Maxey starts to go. Like, if you've been watching the NBA all year, you know these guys are incredible. But for people who come to the playoffs, they're like, oh, Anthony Edwards is him. And it's like, that's when the stakes start to come in. That's when they're Yeah.
I think because we projected Anthony Edwards to be here, he just took a step this year.
Oh, okay.
Like, because he was
step.
already so far up in our eyes that's just a step in another step in the, like, we kind of saw this coming. While Maxey was a leap. I don't know what happened there.
You know what I think
Wait, what's going on?
I'm trying to talk, all right?
Why are you having so much such a hard time with it today?
Well said.
So much hard.
Let me circle.
I can't talk for more than 20 seconds. If I go for more than 20 seconds, something bad is going to happen.
So you're going to jump the shark.
I want to go back to the criticism I'm getting most loudly because I don't think there were a lot of other people saying or having the bad analysis that I had. There are a lot of people the last couple of days who've been reminding me, and I don't think anyone else, hey, Le Batard, remember that thing you said about Tyler Hero being as good as Maxey? Because I did say that.
Yikes.
It's a bad take today, but look at where and how it became a bad take, because the take was being made. I saw Tyler Hero, the one time he played in some of these games, scored 37 points in the bubble against the Celtics, and whatever it is the growth of that was supposed to be, hasn't had the playoff games that Maxey is presently getting to show everybody, no, this is what growth looks like in this circumstance. Maxey hadn't had those games. He had them this season. Tyler Hero had one of those in the playoffs, and then I'm thinking Bam and Butler are getting in the way of him being able to have more of those, because this person, and this is not up for dispute, has made scoring, when healthy, Tyler Hero, look easier than almost anyone who's ever played in a Heat uniform as just a scorer. And it has not grown. It did not grow while Maxey became the most improved player. And then you've got this added bonus. Man, oh man, Jaylen Brown, if he backs you down in the paint, Tyler Hero, they're just going to hunt that because Tyler Hero's going to get stuck in his ass crack.
Tyler Hero took a jump, not a leap. He did get better as a player.
No.
I was thinking he went the other way. I was trying to think.
Well,
What's
he
the
was
opposite
better.
of a
He was
step?
better this season than he's been previously. The problem is that his one chance to be the one was against the best team in the conference that's going to do this to everybody. Jalen Brunson's going to be the number one on the Knicks, and he's not going to win more than a couple of games against the Celtics.
What is the opposite of a step?
Like, I know you can say someone
Like
regressed.
a sink? You sank?
Oh, he sang.
Like a backtrack.
Backtrack?
Yeah.
Oh.
Backtrack.
Hold on a second.
Hold on a second?
Yeah.
No, it's what?
Wait a second.
No, we
Oh,
kinda
I
know.
thought you were telling us to hold on.
Yeah,
I
No,
was like, go on.
wait a second.
Jeremy, go play in traffic. We live because I'm getting a report here from Cynthia that there's smoke in the garage, that there are firefighters here and there's smoke in the garage.
Stu's back.
Is it because of my hot takes?
I love
Sorry.
that you
It's
waited
not
till we were
Twitter
back
traffic.
on air to say that. Like, this is something that should have been brought up off air.
I know, but no, it was just happening as we were coming back. You were counting me in, and I was coming back, and I'm seeing a note from Cynthia. And it may just be that all the smoke guys have gotten here because Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes are around here somewhere. At some point, they're going to be here over the next couple of days. But we are getting messages. I'm not making that up. It's not the heat season up in flames like that. I'm just pay attention to what's going on here.
We're sending Tony to poke his head out the door.
Great. That's great. That's how everyone should handle a fire.
The show must go on.
That's
Dan.
right. We're undermanned here today. Again, where's Mike Ryan? He's actually in Cancun.
Taking
right?
victory laps on Twitter because he thinks this is all some sort of referendum that proves him right about everything. Because, of course.
All right. Juju Gotti is our social media voice of the fan. And before we go any further, I'm going to allow him to chime in here over the next couple of segments whenever he wants to get into a segment to tell us what it is that people out there are saying because he's the bridge to our community. But before we go any further, Juju, Charlotte had something she wanted to say about the last segment and basketball. And I wanted to get some of your basketball thoughts, too.
Hey, Juju.
Yes.
You're going to like this one, I think.
You can
I
just
think
tell,
I'm gonna love it every single time.
You could just tell him what it is.
Okay.
No smoke, by the way.
Thank you, Tony.
Is there fire?
TBD.
Okay. So the thing we were talking about, Tyrese Maxey and Anthony Edwards having this moment of like they have arrived. This is a huge deal, and I think something that they both have that I love that they're having this moment. They both play with so much joy, and they both communicate with their teams. They are leaders in. I mean, Anthony Edwards, I think, had a press conference where he talked a lot about what he and Kat have going on, but also like when they play, there's so much joy there. They're having a good time. They are playing in a way that is the locker room guy, and they're also like, but usually that locker room guy isn't amazing at basketball, and these guys are all of it, and it is so much fun to see.
There are different.
Precisely.
There are different.
My sister couldn't have said it better. I'm sorry, Dan. I keep cutting you off. That's on me. As Chris Cody says, back to you.
Okay. Well, what were your thoughts other than Charlotte had all the correct thoughts?
Nah, that's what it takes, bro. That's what people don't realize. When you love what you do, it's contagious. When you have fun being a great teammate, it's contagious. That's the stuff that we need around here at Metal Art. When we come to work and we love being at work and not be trying to beat traffic by 2 o'clock or something like that, bro, it's contagious. We're going to make great content. We're going to have a wonderful day. So, of course, Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Maxey spreading that around the locker room is, bro, they're getting results on top of the spread of the joy. Come on, man. Salute to my sister. That was a great point.
Basketball is supposed to be fun, right? We all see it as a business. We all see it as, oh, what happens? This guy's do this. Like, these guys are going out there and having fun because they're at the peak of their powers. They can do whatever they want on the court. Anthony Edwards can shoot from three, can dunk on you, can hit a fadeaway layup. Like, he can do anything. So he's like, I'm going to just go have fun. And he does it.
You guys are articulating something that customers and fans love, that their athletes care as much as they do, that their athletes love it as much as they do. I just find funny that all of that passion and joy that you have all over the league, because that's not exactly how Durant is doing it, even though we know he loves basketball. But when what's rolling through the paint to win the championship is the joyless cement mixer who looks like he wants to get back to his horses, and that's what's beating everybody, and that's what's holding up the trophy, and he gives you the joy at the end, but while you're watching, you have no connection to, can I understand this man's humanity? Oh, I can't. He's just a cement mixer. He's going to destroy everybody, and he might have a sense of humor, but joy you're not getting off of him.
I mean,
Breaking news, Dano. What have you done for me lately? I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves will give the Denver Nuggets all that they are asking for. What can you do? Show me what you can do without Bruce Brown this year. What have you done for me lately? I do not believe the hype. Everything that they come out of the media, ESPN, the Nuggets, bro, they look trash against the Lakers. That was the Lakers that they got pushed to all them games too. Even though they won all of them except one. That's neither here nor there. You feel me? I think the Minnesota Timberwolves going to give these boys trouble.
This is not breaking news. That's not breaking news.
It's breaking news in Miller Media. Y'all don't even want to talk about the Pacers and the Magic. So it's breaking news here, goddammit.
Juju, I have the Wolves in 7.
Oh, I got the Wolves in 5.
Oh,
them boy look trash to me.
Oh,
Denver, look, I'm gonna respect the Denver Nuggets, the champions, but they just gotta show me, dog. I'm watching the games. I see the heroics required. So please show me some ball movement, show me some skills, and I might believe they can get 2 games, maybe.
That's not breaking news.
Well, it's
okay. You're gonna harp on it. Yeah. What's breaking news, Dano? Mike Ryan on Twitter. He says you either die a hero or you wait a week until everyone just starts saying the same shit you said a week ago. What do you think about that?
So he's taking a victory lap on Twitter. Mike Ryan gets to be right while going to Cancun. He's left here. He's doing something with Cuervo. I don't know. He's not in the country anymore, but he's left, and now he's taking the victory lap of there. The Heat lost the way I thought all of this was going to end, and so I'm going to hold my own championship banner of the greatest of the championship banners, which is I was right.
He was courageous in that, Dan.
He said they should trade Bam a week ago.
That's what he's doing, though. That's what he's doing.
It takes courage to go out and do that and wave the flag of I'm right. And he had it last week where, you know what? Kind of some of the things that we're saying. Like,
this is the first time, though, that what is going to happen is the lunatic fringe extremes of the Mike Ryans of trade Bam. They are now going to gather strength. They are going to be louder.
Bam has been great for
Agreed.
The Heat.
Don't ask Mike.
Agreed. This is not.
But he was the reason they
He's
won
their
that
best
one
asset.
game.
He is the thing that they have that is the thing of most
He's
value.
all they have.
That's what they have to trade. That's what everybody wants. That's the thing people want. Like, the reason they didn't make any trades last offseason is because they were not willing to part with that. That's what the team was built around, and they couldn't get anything better than that. You guys, this happens all the time, this time of year. I know we love the offense, okay? I do. And I know it's hard for us all to measure the defense. I know Boston's great at defense. I can't exactly tell you why, but I know they're great at defense. And the reason the Miami Heat are great at defense is no other reason than that pterodactyl in the middle. Everything they do is built around him. Eric Spoelstra is always top 10 in defense, and that is the perfect player for this system, for this time in basketball, and it will be defense-constructed first team. But what happens? You score 80 there when you lose a couple of your scorers because your team is limited, because his twos aren't going to keep you in the modern game against a Celtics team raining threes from all over the place.
Which game was it that Bam hit his first 3 ever in the playoffs?
It might have been literally
game.
last night.
I was like
in Miami.
I was like,
it was in Miami.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me, come again? The whole run last year, no threes.
Do you know how weird?
Check my social media, yeah.
As I was saying,
Chris Cody, you beautiful man.
That was a lob to you. As I was about to say, do you know how weird it is for me to watch a game and get so crazy athletic from the perimeter that Bam has to get out there faster to shoot threes or he'll get left behind? I don't understand how Gobert gets run off the court when that's always been the standard for basketball. And now Bam's not athletic enough. It doesn't have enough range to get out there.
Bam's like doing Kevin Garnett things, and we're like, not enough.
Right, I'm sorry. All right.
Speaking of the social media. Chris Cody, you beautiful bastard. Okay, the Kentucky Fried Chicken at K_fraud_chicken on Twitter says the Miami Heat won 1 game and the Le Batard Show did a parade of gas bags for not getting swept. I love this show, but that's pathetic work. Back to you, Dan.
Agreed.
You guys did that?
Play it again. Let's play again for the people that parade of gas bags of how heroically we all ran in here to mock ourselves because we got all of the analysis wrong before game 2. The Heat won a single game, and all of a sudden everything that we said had been refuted and made to look foolish. Kendrick Perkins, I don't remember whether he was in the parade of gas bags or not, but Kendrick Kendrick Perkins among the gas bags because he was saying that the Heat would get swept even if they shot 100% from the field and 100% from three. It's one of the great analyses I've ever heard.
Them goons.
And he's still mad. He's still mad at them for not sweeping the Heat.
Right.
Kendrick Perkins still finds it unacceptable that they lost a single
So
game.
do I. So do I, by the way. I'm not this is on to the next round, but I think we should have took out these boys way easier fashion. We shouldn't even have to go back to Boston. You never know how ankle injuries work. You might catch a cold, you might sleep on a mattress. I don't know what's going on, man. But look, we need to tighten it up. Sorry for that, Dan.
It's hard to see how the Miami Heat are going to win a game in that series.
They're a joke right now. Everyone's laughing at them.
This team is not going to, more likely than not, even pull off one game against the Boston Celtics this year.
Tyler Hero, not good. Not a fan. Bye. Just bye.
It's not a code red, because if you take out Jason Tatum, the Celtics are still sweeping the Heat. So slow down, Scalabrine.
Yeah, give up Ruiz up out of here. They down 0-1. They about to go down 0-2 tonight, and your season going to be over in the next 4 days.
They need to dynamite the Heat.
Please, just the core. Toss it out.
I'm done. Again. He's been doing that for 2 years.
Wow. Save a home
Done
game
talking
in 2
about
nights.
his Bam gonna find the guts. I'm done talking about it.
I mean, the Miami Heat could go 100% from the field, 100% from the three, and they're still going to get swept in this series. They just don't have the personnel to match up with the Boston Celtics. That's it.
I talked to a person that's high-ranking in the NBA who would know stuff about player evaluation, who said he would take 13 centers over Bam.
Wake the hell up, Heat fans! Okay, you're so far gone from being a contender right now. You are an afterthought.
They do not want to face Boston in the first round and be their first victim. They will probably get swept. I'm going to say that right now if they face them in the first round.
There was a gulf that was established early on with Boston winning their offseason and Miami very clearly losing theirs. And that gulf, as the season progressed, got wider, in my opinion.
Yes.
Most people do not believe the Heat will win a single game.
Because this roster is simply not good enough, and it's not good enough by a mile.
That's kind of amazing that 3 games later, all of the analysis in that is dead on.
Is that a first?
Chris Cody, there are a number of things, okay, as this pirate ship springs leaks all over the place, is desperately undermanned today, and you are in a position that requires you to spin a whole lot of plates. A whole lot of things are going to spill overboard and be problematic. For future reference, okay, it is not good that Charlotte Wilder is sitting next to me and just said before the microphones went on, "Oh, we've been on live?" that as the executive producer of this show, the person who is here. What do you mean no?
I wouldn't necessarily put this on Chris. This could very well be a me mistake. I could have been told this. This could have been common knowledge.
I'm just saying that can't be the information you're relaying to me when we have an executive producer in charge of handling all the things, because we need to know when we're live.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
Oh, man. Chris Cody, you lobbed it right up, and I'm catching the alley-oop. Look, which you can catch, by the way, every weeknight whenever we feel like doing it. No schedule involved at all. It doesn't matter the time.
On YouTube. Wait, Juju, we need to promote whatever you just said slightly better than that.
Pull up on us, alley-oop tonight after Knicks Sixers. We're gonna go live tonight. We got me, Zach Harper, and insert more guests. Probably we got so many guests that's trying to get on right now. It's just about turning down the right people. So neither here nor there. Tone Montana, or is it Tony Montana, on YouTube says, "How you guys got a skeleton crew and still manage to talk all at once?" Damn.
Oh, you don't know how much that one hurts me, Juju.
Yeah, Juju.
Juju, I don't know if I have a greater frustration with this show over the last 3 years than that right there.
Salute to Tony. Tone.
Now none of us are talking because we don't want to talk over each other.
No.
Right. Also, too, show my brother Jeremy Taché some grace in the chats. I know y'all all love Jeremy Taché, and I love my brother. So show my brother some more grace. What do y'all expect? He works for this organization. That, of course, he's going to be defending his friends. Show my brother some more grace. I love you, Jeremy.
All right, let's discuss this. Okay, I'm going to let people look behind the curtain
I love you,
here.
Juju.
Jeremy's taking a battering here in general because it's really hard to be more heat obnoxious than this show was with Parakeet Cortez, Mike Ryan, and everyone else. But Jeremy has found a way. It's hard to believe, but Jeremy has found a way. And I was just having a conversation with Charlotte off air about how it is that one arrives at likability. We were just talking because Charlotte's just very likable. It's a hard thing. I'm not good at it. It's not something. It's not a skill that I've developed over the years.
Really bad at it, yeah.
Charlotte has.
No, you're good at it, brother. I love you, brother. You changed my entire life. I love you, bro.
That's very nice of you, Juju. And you see me a little more clearly than most. But we've had some interactions that the audience doesn't get. And I'm a strident, obnoxious TV personality who has strong opinions and thinks he's right. It's annoying. Like I know I'm annoying. Likable's not my thing, but our crew's likable for different reasons, and Reach is likable in a lot of different ways. And Charlotte has the holy trinity of smart.
Well, now no one's gonna like me
because she does stuff like that. She is someone who has some gifts that Jeremy does not have.
No.
Oh,
don't do that. Thought Jeremy is
it went all the way. Went all the way around
Jeremy's
the world
young.
to dunk on Jeremy.
Wait a minute. Jeremy's young. Wait a minute. I'm not saying that Jeremy's not likable. I'm saying that this kind of heat talk is something that everyone who's listening to this show despises about our show. Like, if she was draped in that, she'd have a similar problem.
This is the first time in the history of the world someone has been like the Celtics fan. Right? She's really not obnoxious.
I don't know. I think in general, Dan, your narrative is correct, but I think this year this show has annoyed the audience, like with Mike just ripping and trying. I think there has been part of the audience that is like they want Jeremy to like give the other side of this.
Okay, I'm going to tell you where it is. The unpleasant place that I have lived with Heat fans for a very long time, because the last 15 years of Heat basketball, I don't want to actually separate ourselves and just do prisoner of the moment. What are you laughing about, Juju?
Emo Jeremy is on the screen right now with Emo Jimmy. You feel me? AKA the Uncount.
I have been in the middle of watching the Miami fan base that loves our show so much get mad that we platform Scalabrini and that we bring on Knicks correspondents, and it's a reflection of our show changing or being something different that people do not like. And the Miami of this show, I want people to appreciate what the last 15 years of this franchise have been through changes. Like, I don't want to sit here and come in, oh, there it is. It all fell apart. The wheels came off the whole thing at the end. They went from Hassan Whiteside and Deion Waiters and impossible to move contracts. They got Jimmy Butler somehow. And wow, that was a magical ride where we all got to learn a bunch of things at the top of the conference. And that was pretty cool. And at the end, Boston takes it away and they're younger. And now there's going to have to be a change. And it feels like in 15 years, it feels about as far from the throne as you can feel. And isn't that amazing? That they would change over 15 years like that. And this is the time that you're looking at like, now I don't have to fear the Heat anymore. All that stuff they built. Look, it got hurt at the end and everything came apart and it didn't feel as good as Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. But I appreciate what the last 15 years have been because I've just seen Stephen Ross get an offer of $10 billion for a franchise that he has not run very well on the field. He's made a lot of money off it. He's made all the right business decisions. But his franchise hasn't gotten any results. And in this town, the only town I've ever cared about, this is the only sports team that has mattered for 20 years. Dolphins got here last year and started, 2 years ago and started screwing around, and none of the playoff success. Like, it's hard to win at these things. And so today will be about yelling and screaming that the Miami Heat need to get better and telling Boston to go bleep itself. I'm not watching any more of the games. But I appreciate what this franchise is. And I also appreciate the history of the sport enough to say, what a great thing that now Boston takes them out. That Boston finishes the remains of Miami as they've fought for the conference the last 5 years. What are you laughing about now, Juju? Something else on television?
Oh, nah, me and Charlotte was just having a great time communicating via non-communication. But anyway, back to social media. Stephen
Wait a minute.
Colbert.
You weren't summoned in with the music? No. He doesn't come in whenever he wants. Is there a plan to this?
This segment is flawless. Stephen Colbert says, y'all stole Jimmy and got nothing out of it. Great day to be a Sixers fan. Back to you, Dano.
Stephen Colbert or Stephen Colbert?
Colbert?
Yeah.
It's no Colbert.
watches the show.
It's Colbert. I checked.
Okay. Thank you, Juju.
Colbert.
I didn't hear any of what you said because I was distracted by your basketball phone. I didn't hear anything after Stephen Colbert.
That's how Juju and I communicate.
Yeah, I was sending her little smoke messages, by the way. Also, DJ V7893 says, this episode of today.
Why also? I'm still asking you what you asked me the first time. Why also? I need to know what I didn't hear what you said the first time.
Look, fit in, Dano. The world heard it. Watch the Le Batard Show at Le Batard Show on YouTube if you want to catch today's show. He says, this is my WEEI moment. Ha, ha, ha. I love this show.
Oh.
Back to you, Charlotte.
That makes me think of something. Guys, I tried to call into a Miami radio station last night.
How'd that go?
I couldn't figure out. So I was like, how do you listen to the radio these days? So I had it on my computer and I was Googling and I was trying to figure it out. And then I found some numbers and then I got like the Odyssey headquarters and then I was trying to record it. And I was like, but if I record this, then I'm not going to be able to hear myself. I mean, you'll hear me. So I gave up.
I wish we had video of you trying to execute that unsuccessfully. You were trying to just get on a Miami radio station. Did you have what you were going to do rehearsed or planned, what you were going to say when you got on there?
I was going to say it's Charlotte from South Beach and then become Charlotte from Southie and say, Marcus, I told you don't let him get one. But I couldn't figure out how to call.
Well, I don't feel like everything that you're doing right now has a lot of confidence in it.
No, I was very confident in how I was trying.
But you were going to do an accent and make a call, and that you were going to morph into the accent?
Well, because to get on the show, you have to say Charlotte from South Beach without the accent. And then you're like, oh, the Heat blew it, blow up the core, but psych. Charlotte from Southie, Marcus Smart told you don't let him get one.
Were they even talking?
That is why we love you.
Were they even talking Heat on the radio last night?
Yes, they were. I have
sure?
a screenshot of it. I have a screen. I took well, it's not a screenshot. It's a picture I took of my computer with my phone.
Would you believe, Juju, that I didn't hear your WEEI question either because Jeremy was whispering in my ear, why did you tell them I'm not likable?
And what did all that have to do with me being unlikable? I try really hard. Is that why you guys don't like me?
Check my social media, yeah.
I didn't say that you're unlikable.
I'm pretty sure you did.
No. The Heat fandom thing. Jeremy, you.
I was brought in here to be a Heat expert. I did it for 6 months.
Charlie,
and
I don't know if
then-
you heard it or not, but it sounded like I heard the sounder, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, Juju, you know what? You go ahead. You're
Time
right.
to check
I
my
tweeted
social
earlier.
media.
You feel me? I tweeted earlier, how y'all don't know about the vintage kid? I be wearing so much shit around y'all. I don't think y'all be knowing what's around y'all. Look, these is Gary Payton's Seattle Supersonics pants, his warm-up pants. Guys, wake up. Like, the vintage game has been here to stay. I got a bunch of these phones. Come on, man. Like, show respect to the vintage and the culture of the world. We out here doing our thing. Salute to everybody involved.
And I was
back to you, Stu.
Thank you. I was trying to shout out my friend Ernest Wilkins, Game Day Grails. He is the best at finding vintage stuff. What do you want, Dan? What kind of vintage stuff do you want? What would you like? You want a Heat hat from?
What did you just do?
Oh yeah.
She shouted out her boy.
You turned into an auctioneer for a second.
Why are you?
What do you need, Dan?
Get a
Huh?
Nike.
Dan?
Get a Nike. Take a whole Nike.
No, but it's not
Get
even.
my boy Alonzo Mourning jersey.
It's not even an auctioneer. It's all of a sudden Charlotte said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just start sending out shout outs.
Well, because I tried earlier and I hit a wall when trying to say the name.
But
and now I'm peddling wares.
Are we
hey,
live?
Dan, what would you like? Are we live?